lay it in more detail today on the history of the practice, and also a little bit more into meridians and organs as we become more familiar with the movements. For this first one, let's just regulate the chi to begin, breathing in calmly, breathing out calmly. 2 more. Feel the ground beneath your feet. And feel the breath deep in your lungs. The first form, palms in front of the heart. Backs of the hands move away as the heels lift. Breathing in as you lower down. Breathing out as you lift. And you could really evoke this sense of pulsing energy forwards, expanding, and drawing back into center. This series of movements really works a lot on a sense of reaching out, extension, and recoiling or coiling back in, contraction. 2 more. That's it, everyone. Second form, presenting the pestle number 2, arms out, not locking the elbows, returning. And so we can date these practices about 1,500 years ago, or thereabouts. They were thought to be first discovered and popularized by the Shaolin temple, the famous Shaolin monks with their acrobatic and fighting prowess. But where they got it from, apparently, so the legend goes, is there was a legendary monk go by the name of Bodhidharma. You might have heard of Bodhidharma. And he's accredited with really propagating and spreading what was known as Chan Buddhism in ancient China. And Chan Buddhism took various forms of Buddhism that were around in the Indian subcontinent and blended them a little bit with Taoist and ancient Chinese practice. And Chan is what ultimately spread to Japanese shores and became Zen. Moving to the third form. Fingertips face the ears, palms above, and pressing. Now Bodhidharma is legendary because he had an incredibly bad temper. He is known as being very angry and very grumpy. He had a huge bushy beard and these wild, maniacal blue eyes. He was known as the blue-eyed barbarian. And apparently he came to the Shaolin temple and taught the Shaolin monks these 12 movements, sometimes 18. And apparently they were written down either in his grave or hidden behind a temple wall and passed down until they reached us. Probably slightly different than how they first were, but whether or not you believe in a legend, I think it's quite nice to think of that lineage, connection to Bodhidharma, wild blue eyes. Start to lower the hands, clearing, releasing. And let's regulate here. As we move to plucking the star, right hand comes to the lower back, back of the palm against the lower back. Left hand to shoulder height. Sweeping to the opposite thigh, not touching, floating. and rising up and over. As you reach, not back bending too much, keep a length in the lower back. Pluck the star, carry it across the sky. And a spattering of stars, a constellation, a galaxy, filling in with starlight. Left hand now connects to the lower back, right hand. This form is said to be very good for kidneys. And that point at the lower back, sometimes known as the gate of life, the Ming Men, houses our kidney energy, or what's known as our essence, our Jing. There's a sense that we cultivate our essence as we practice plucking the star. Let's take one more each side. As you curl over to the side, there's a moment of pause, almost like energy waiting to be released. And then it releases as you extend up, pluck, carry, and transform. Last time. Again, that little moment of pause, like the discus thrower, the famous statue, full of potential to release. That's it, Andrew. And filling in. Release the other hands, regulating and settling. From here, stepping the left foot forwards, right toes turn out into a baby warrior two. Palms turn up as we begin to pull the cows. So again, extend, reach forwards, both arms reaching out. There's a micro pause. And then as you make fists, right hand behind, left hand to the shoulder as you turn. Little pause, and then the release, the extension. We spoke yesterday about 5 guiding principles, the first of which we explored is quietness like a lake, quiet and calm like lake water. The second guiding principle is around slowness. I don't teach these in the slowest way. You can go a lot slower than this. But I generally find at first when you're learning them not to go too slow. Over time you can really slow it down as your breath slows down as well. Last one. As you release, the palms open to the heavens, like you could catch heavenly chi in the palms, and then stepping back in, right foot forwards. And checking that back knee feels happy, adjust the foot as you need to, and then pulling in, back knee bends a little bit. That's it, Finn? Yes, Ellie. Pulling 9 cows by the tails. One of the benefits of this slower rhythm than we might be used to is often in a movement we'll have strength just for one little section of that movement. When we go fast, we miss the details. But as you go slow and steady, you build strength moment to moment, microsecond to microsecond, really learning to have full control and strength of your range from beginning to end. Last one. Gently release, extend, and stepping in, regulate. Yeah, exactly. You can have the feet shoulder width apart or hip distance as we display claws and wings. Palms face each other as they rise up. Circle back, find your pointy talons. Exhale. Really reach, lengthen, almost like you're going to fall over but not quite. And then palms join in prayer, palms rise up. Soften the knees, spread your wings. 2 more. This movement is said to be great for lungs, which help to process the emotion of grief or sorrow. And they're associated with the element of metal in 5-element theory. Metal is the element which helps edit, which helps us to cut back, to refine. A sense of refining breath, movement, and learning what really matters in life, what the priorities really are. Regulating. Palms soft, fingers soft. 9 ghosts drawing swords. Bring the hands near to each other. Left hand grabs the sword, opens it out. Yes. And switching. Left hand holds the sword behind the back. Right fingertips to the left ear. Turn, lift, look over the shoulder. Elbow to the outside of the knee as you curl down. Rising. Curling. This movement's thought to be really helpful for stomach and spleen. You get that twisting, compression of the abdominal organs. And then let's release and switch. Holding the sword behind, holding the ear, turning, curling. Just as far as feels good. It's not about the depth, it's more about the sensation and the confident control of the movement. Last one. Gently release. Hands lower like raindrops. Regulating, balancing, but also sinking the chi. We call this shan, sinking, rooting, grounding. From here, step your feet wide into horse stance, toes turn out a little bit. Pick up your plates, it's buffet time. Again, optionally you can have the heels down or heels lifted if you're feeling particularly energetic today. Take an inhale, exhale plates down 1/3 of the way. Pause. Feel that potential energy here, like a spring. Slowly lift up. Now there's a special sound we can make as we come down. If you like, you can make the sound high. Traditionally you make the sound high. It's very much in the throat, if you wish, breathing in. As you come down, high, 2/3, hold. Drop the tailbone, breathing in. Last time in your raspiest Bonnie Tyler voice. High. Hold. Those of you who know Mimi, she references Gollum for this. I reference Bonnie Tyler. Slowly rise. Release the hands, step in. Regulating. So the feet are hip distance apart now, for the black dragon displaying its claws. As the palms come forwards, remembering thumbs touch the base of the ring finger, and we close the fists and pull them in. To begin, release the left palm out to the side. You can look at the hand, make the claw, dragon's claw, and then the claw, or the dragon, fly across the space of the heart. Shoulders stay facing forwards. A moment of pause, reach the arm across, stretching the outer shoulder. And then release the claw, stroke down the outer leg. Brush across the floor. Sweep up the other outer leg. And you can even come up a little bit to the side of the waist, and to the organs, and then recreate the fist, pull in. Right palm. Claw, fingernails pointing forwards, flying across. You get a little pause, a moment of compression in the right lungs, and then release. This form is very balancing for wood energy element. As we trace meridians up the outer leg and the waist for gallbladder, liver, wood organs. And as I mentioned yesterday, really wood as an energy is really creative. It's the growth of springtime. But out of balance, it's that kind of pent up frustration, anger, agitation. So use your claw to cut through that. And then clear out any agitation, dredging the meridians, the energy channels, using the hand to do so. Last time, soften the knees. That's it, Jan. Dragon flies across the open sky of the heart. Pause. Release. Bring the fist in one last time. Hands blossom open, regulating. From here, turn your hips to the left slightly. Step the left heel forwards, toes rise. I like to begin this tiger pounce with my wrists crossed, forearms crossed. You could add that in if you like. It feels very glam to me, very martial artsy. And as you reach your arms back, create the claws, lift the chest into a back bend, and lunging forwards, option to float the back foot and flex it, or you could keep the back foot down. Flying, flying, flying tiger, and then replace the back foot, hands to the thigh, sink, And then lift the chest, looking forwards, drop the hips. As you release, the forearms cross again, pivoting on the feet. Right heel, left toe, right toes lift, reaching back. Pouncing. Maybe the back foot comes up. As you lower the back foot, hands come down. And I've heard this called tiger pouncing on its prey, but I also heard it called tiger surprising its prey, which I quite like. Let's take one more each side. This time, as you reach forwards, pause, lengthen, take a moment. Standing knee is bent. Step the back foot down, rest the hands on the front thigh. So option one, you can continue with the hands on the thigh, or for a deeper variation of this, you can take the fingertips down to the floor in front of the foot. You might watch me for a moment. I'm going to bend the knee quite a lot. It's going to come in front of my toes and my heel will lift. I'm going to push into my fingertips and lengthen. It's quite strong. This is how the Shaolin Temple, as far as I know, teach this. Really quite low, knee far over the toes. And then release, come back up. Ooh, switching. Surprising your prey last time. If you have the room. Stepping back, either hands to the knee again as you lift the chest. The fingertips to the floor and really lunging forwards. Very cat-like. Begin to release. Stepping in. Regulating for the last two forms. Slowly bring the hands, palms over the ears, fingertips the back of the skull. Let's fold down a third of the way. Tap 7 times with the first finger. Fold down 2/3 of the way. Tap 7 times. Banging on heaven's drum. Fold all the way. Tapping. Rise up, send the elbows out to the sides. And release. For the final form, link the fingers. And push the palms down as you fold about 1/3. Lift the head as you push the hands down so the upper back extends slightly. And sway to the right, to the left. That's it, Ellie. As you come to center, lower down a little bit more. Drop the chin for a sec. And then lift the head again. Knees are a little bent to the right. Wagging the tail. So really stick your bum out. To the left. And now, as far down as feels good, you could put the hands on the floor briefly. Then lift the head, float the hands last time to the right. And to the left. As you come back to center, slowly release, curling up through the spine. Stepping in. Let's regulate to close. A couple big breaths out. That's it, Fiona. Yes, Andy. Rest the hands at the lower dantian. Taking a little bow to each other in practice. Thank you, everybody.